Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope that I'm finding you retreating before it's necessary. If you're not retreating before it's necessary, then allow me to have the intention that in today's episode I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. So it has been a while. It has been 2 weeks since I have put an episode out. I am aware of that. Nothing is wrong. I just had to go inward. So I figured this would be the perfect time to send out an episode about the retreat. So we had an expo that we went to, and a lot of times because my energy, the personality, my divine makeup is such that I need to go inward to rebalance myself, to recoup my energy. And I do that by going inward, reading, being by myself, long walks, meditation, just doing things that I enjoy. Most all of the time, it is a complete alone time. Now, how do I do that with a family? Well, I find time. For one, as an entrepreneur, Amy works full time, so she's out of the house during the day. The boys are in school, of course. So there you go. There's my time. So when we got back from the expo, from the show, I was like, what is going on? Like, I am so tired. And I would, I got up and helped get the kids to go in and, bye to everybody and whatever. And I would like go back to bed. And it was times where I tap in, I go, okay, is something else going on? Is my health okay? Is everything else all right with me? Making sure, checking in, and yep. And I'm just tired. And so then I would honor that. I would sleep, I would rest, I would do some inward activities, if you will. And some of those activities might be, like I said, like I'm just reading, or I'm just maybe watching a movie, or I'm just doing some really low key things. Or if it's nice and warm and whatever, then I'll go ride my bike, or I'll go mow the lawn, or I'll go shoot baskets or something. But either way, it's stuff that I enjoy doing, and it's stuff to take care of myself, and it's stuff that allows me to replenish my energy. Because as we are out at these shows, and these are like those mind, body, spirit shows where you go in and there's all these vendors and speakers and stuff like that, and you walk around and there's all these people that have stuff for sale. Well, we sell our meditation products at these shows. And though it's a lot of fun, I really love it. And I love engaging with the people that come into our booth and they're talking with us and telling us what they have going on. And we're sharing our products with them and sharing our, I do some energy work when we're there and help them to clear some stuck energy and some heavy emotions that they have. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. But because we have to be on all the time, or I do, it really depletes my energy. So when we come back from the show, I'm generally tired, but usually I load myself up for the week's worth of podcasts before I go. Well, obviously, if you're listening to my podcast, you know that didn't happen. Now, first of all, my apologies, but before I apologize, I want to tell you that during these 2 weeks of not putting out podcasts and not engaging a lot on social media, and really focusing on going inward and replenishing my energy, that I had recognized a lot of things about myself. And one of those things is the topic that I'm talking about today, which is retreat before it's necessary. Now, I've been diving into this new way of thinking, this new way of being, and new information to learn about myself. So you've heard of like astrology and numerology and the I Ching and stuff like that. Well, it's not new. It's new-ish to me at this level, but it's called human design. And I'm not going to go into it a bunch, but it is about the place and time of my birth. And it's all of this information about how I would do business and how I engage with people and the problems I have and the things, my personal design. It is the way I'm meant to interact with the world while I'm on this planet. And it's quite fascinating and it's spot on point. And one of the things that is in my chart, which is called a body graph chart, but one of these things that's in my chart is about retreating. And I was watching this video of this other gal who is the same type as me. And she was saying that this girl, I would go out, and she's an entrepreneur and a coach. So she would go out, she would start a big project, and then she would have to retreat. And sometimes she would do, 1 to 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally me. Well, when that doesn't happen, when I just keep pushing and going, I'm very fast, I'm very determined, I have a lot of energy, and I create these projects, I don't always finish them. And that can be very frustrating to me. And then when I come back around to the project that's unfinished, it's also very overwhelming. So I'm constantly dealing with these emotions. Like through the last 10 or 12 years, when I've been really starting to work my coaching business. And as I look at this chart and I start to get this knowing about my design, I'm like, this is really interesting because I'm not meant to finish projects. Like I'm not meant to do it. I start the projects and then I have other people finish them. And I'm like, that makes it kind of hard to start a business then, don't you think? Like this is like, how am I supposed to work this out? So there's some more details and I'm coming back around to, talking about you and retreating when it's necessary, before it's necessary. But I just found this piece of information to be really, really helpful in my design and how I'm meant to be on this planet as an entrepreneur, as a woman in business, as a coach, as a mother, as all of these things. It's like, and all these different characteristics that I play, all these characters that I play in my life, is how am I supposed to show up? So when I learned this, I could relax into it. And the last 2 weeks have been nothing shy of blissful. They really have. It has been, I've ridden my bike, I've played basketball, I did some boxes, I did some creativity, I worked on the business a little bit, but mostly I was like all hands off as far as the business goes, a little bit here and there, but really not much. And then I just enjoyed these 2 weeks. It was like a vacation within my life. And now I'm feeling more energized and more out there and more ready to take on the next layer, the next level of my life, if you will. So now let's come around to you. So how does this play out in your life? To me, retreating before it's necessary, I'm going to explain the title in just a second. Before it's necessary is, to me, it means taking time for yourself. It's all about self-love. Doesn't it always come down to that? If I am worthy, I will take care of myself. If I feel good enough, I will take care of myself. If I feel like I am somebody, I will take care of myself. And in that caring of myself, I then create self-love. And if I love myself, then I will take care of myself. It's the cyclical cycle, if you will, that just goes around and around. If I care for myself, then I'll love myself. If I love myself, then I'll care for myself. And it just goes and goes. Well, I had to do that for my own mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And as I just about a month ago turned 50 years old, and I've always been physically fit and healthy. I love working out. I was a personal trainer. I was a boot camp instructor. I love like strength training, and I did a little bit of cardio, but I'm kind of a sprinter. So my cardio is not as great, but I am noticing that my energy is kind of going down. Now, not my verbal energy. You can sense my energy is probably dripping off of me right now. But as far as like going out and running in the yard, I have that physical energy, but then the rest of my body is like, whoa, we're not doing that anymore. My back tends to kind of get, I've had some back issues, which just goes to, my hip flexibility, blah, blah, blah. My knee sometimes gives me trouble, so I can't always do that. Well, then in the not feeling good to do that, I don't do it. Does that make sense? So if I don't go do that, then I don't do it and I don't get stronger and I don't get better and I still can't do it. And then my energy goes down. And again, we're in this cycle. So in this self-care, I did some workouts. I did some yoga videos. I did lots of meditation. I did a lot of different techniques that I used to connect to my intuition. I got a lot of intuitive guidance. Amy and I are putting a puzzle together. I, did a little leaf raking. I did a little bit of yard cleanup. I walked the dogs almost every day. Now let's talk about you. Now I said that already, but let's really talk about you. Where do you do this in your life? Where do you step out of your life, so to speak, in times that you can? Now, you may go, well, that's great, Jen, but I have a full-time job and I have little kids. I totally get it. You set up the space in your home. I used to teach parenting classes, and then I went to the higher level and taught this stuff in schools. And I could teach these adults who have control of their environment to create environments that are conducive to their well-being. I would go into daycare centers and teach the teachers how to create environments that the kids can respond to in a positive way that works for everybody involved. this is how I love to run my household. And I say, okay, what does, here's a perfect example. When my oldest son was at home, when he was still living at home, we have a very small house. And when my oldest son was living at home, he had a bedroom. And then when Amy moved in, the boys were 3 and 6. And they shared a bedroom. And it was great for a while until it wasn't. Brandon, who has autism, loves his quiet time. He loves his alone time. And Cameron, who's the youngest, he is very social. He talks a lot. He's very engaging. He likes to engage with his surroundings, but mostly people. He's very tuned in to people around him and wants attention from people all the time. Well, it was very draining to Brandon. So we kept seeing Brandon coming out of his bedroom and he would go, "Can Cameron get out of here?" And we're like, "Oh, honey, let's go find something for you to do. Cameron, come on out. We'll give, but it's like at the same time, me and Amy, we needed our time together as parents. And so Cameron would come out and now he's with us. Now he's in our face and now he's talking to us and we can't have the conversation that we need. So we're trying to distract him and trying to have him entertain himself. And if you have a social kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Could be really hard, right? So anyway, as time went on, what we ended up doing is creating a bedroom downstairs for my oldest son to move into, gave him his independence. He's, 18 years old. He needs his independence. Then we took the rooms upstairs and we split them. We put Cameron in one room and Brandon in the other. Now, Cameron didn't really love the move. It was very, very difficult for him because now not only is he's young, he's probably 5. And it was a hard shift and hard transition because now anybody he could talk to is now not in his room. So when he goes in his room, there's nobody in there. But it created a little independence on his part. It created this calm for Brandon and it gave this independence to Bob downstairs. And it worked. But what I'm saying is I shifted my environment. So you do the same thing. If you happen to have, kids in the house or a talkative husband and you can't create, it's like, you put it on the calendar and you create it. Because what I had to do is listen, if I keep pushing this way, my physical well-being is going to snap. I'm going to start getting sick. Things are going to start happening. Remember, my thoughts create my emotion, which create the physical in the body and then a physical experience. So if I'm going to retreat, I want to do it before my back seizes up. I want to do it before I get the flu. I want to do it before, if you go even further, before I really get sick, before I break a bone, before I get cancer, before something else happens that puts me in that necessary retreat. So I'm going to put it on the calendar. There might be times where I don't record a podcast. It doesn't mean I don't love you guys. It doesn't mean I'm not here for my listeners. It might mean that I am in retreat. Now, will I tell you ahead of time? I'll do my very best. If you're part of our group, you probably will hear about it because it's something that I'm teaching. I'm teaching this self-love and self-care and going, you know what? I'm not going to work on my email list right now because it overwhelms me. I'm going to step back from that and I'm going to do something else until I'm in alignment with working on my email. Or until I'm in alignment with working on my website or, whatever. I gotta do some podcast recordings or whatever. So how do you set this up in your schedule? First, let's talk about you rearranging your schedule, not rearranging it, but finding the time. And maybe it's only a half a day on Saturday. And you say, hey, honey, you know what? You're going to take the kids. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go up to the beach. I'm going to go get a hotel room. And I'm going to order a pizza and I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to take my bike and I'm going to go for a ride. I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to read a little bit and you're just going to do it to replenish. It's just a replenisher. Now, if you're I'm an introverted extrovert, I come across as being extroverted, but I'm not necessarily. Meaning I just don't get energy fed by hanging out with people. It's the opposite. I get my energy fed by being alone. Now, this last week or 2 weeks, it took me 2 weeks to get my energy back. Now I'm ready to work on business again. I have the energy, I have the clarity, I have the determination, I have the motivation to get going. But instead of it taking 2 weeks, now I'm going to put it into my calendar where I'm okay, I'm going to take Thursday off. I'm not going to look at my business. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to take it off. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go outside. I love the fall. I'm going to go do things that I enjoy based on the weather, based on my energy needs, whatever. I'm going to go do that. Give yourself permission. So the first is putting it in your calendar, taking time to structure it within your day. Put it in the calendar somewhere. And when you put it in your calendar, honor it. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm not saying you have to sit down on the couch and watch TV. Just take that time and go, I can do anything I want that just brings me joy. Or doesn't, just turns my mind off. I'm just going to watch TV. I watch some Netflix. I'm not going to I already told you about the 100 things that I did, but do what brings you joy, or do whatever you want. That's it. Do whatever you want. I cleaned the closet. I got rid of a bunch of clothes, and I got in the car and I went all the way to Goodwill and got rid of them, because otherwise I just come down to the basement and I'd get them all back out. I cleaned through stuff. Today I swept and mopped the floor in the kitchen, and I took all of the rugs outside and I swept the deck and I cleaned the floor and I mopped and vacuumed and I wiped the counters and I did all the stuff. And I'm like, I had the energy to do it, and I did it, and it was amazing, and I loved every minute of it. And then when I was done and I depleted my energy, then I would read. I would research. Like, I love researching. Love it. That's part of my human design. I learned that. It's part of my human design. Again, we're not talking about human design. So when it's time to do retreat, when it's time to go back, when it's time to just go inward, I would always recommend doing things that you love, of course, but I would also like to say that it might be a good idea to do things that kind of regroup your energy as well. So listening to guided meditations, going for a silent walk, spending time out in nature, things that are calming and aligning. That just helps to bring about your energy and aligning you back to your purpose of what you're here to do on this planet. What are the things that bring you joy? What can you do that bring you back into this state of bliss? There was a day, I think it was like last Thursday, last Wednesday or something like that. And I've been doing this deeper meditative practice that really is connecting me to my intuition. And I'm spending more time in the morning going, let me be connected to my intuition. Let me be guided by my intuition and connected to divine and supported by Mother Earth today. And it just allowed me to just kind of flow with the day. And I will tell you, I was a 10 all day long. There wasn't a single thing that pushed me out of alignment. I was in such a great mood and I just felt so amazing. And I want that same thing for you. And I know the world is not about where you're just going to be in a great mood for the rest of your life. But you know what? I think that part of that right there is kind of the work, where sometimes you just need to try to hold your vibration as best as you can. That I think that it's really important when you go into retreat, you fill up. And then now when you come out is try to hold that vibration. Say it to yourself, you know what? My vibration is important enough to me that I'm not going to let anybody kick it out or kick me out of this vibration. And it was kind of a fun thing to practice. It was somewhat exciting, really, because I'm like, even if the kids get in trouble, it's not going to kick me out. Even if I stub my toe, even if the dogs poop on the floor, even if I get a flat tire, even if someone calls me and tells me they hate me, even if, I don't know what, I fight with my something, blah, 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 whoever, I'm not going to let them. And it was kind of a fun game. And I will tell you, that day I was able to maintain it. And it was very exciting, because what that told me is that I do have control. What that also told me is the work I'm doing is working and it's important. And it was exciting. I'm like, I'm still a 10. I have all this energy. I feel amazing. I feel in alignment. I feel amazing. And it was amazing. I can't say anything else about it. And I want you to have that same experience. But you have to go in and figure out, now. Here's one thing I will tell you. If you are an extrovert, retreat may not be the thing for you. It may not be. Because for me, I look forward to my retreat. I look forward to it. If you are listening to this and you're like, oh, hell no, I am not doing that. You probably don't have any, this probably isn't a word, but you probably don't have any introvertism in your life. You're probably wholeheartedly extroverted. Because if I were to say this to Cameron, he'd probably start crying. He'd be like, oh, no way am I doing that. That makes me want to throw up. And that'd be like telling me, oh, you need to go hang out with people for 2 weeks straight. I think I would die. So anyway, what I'm saying is think about, and that's like anything with my podcast. If you hear something, you're like, no, that doesn't resonate with me. That's okay. You just leave it. You don't have to keep that in your, you don't have to use it. But if it works for you, if it sounds right, if it resonates with you, then please take advantage. Use a retreat to fill your energy. Use it to fill you up. Put it in your schedule. Organize your environment. You have control of your environment. And to be honest, kids love structure. So they say, hey, you know what? Every single Saturday, I'm going to go hang out with dad, or I have to go find some friends to hang out with, or I'm going to be outside all day or whatever. If they come to expect it, it's okay. There might be a little bit of resistance, but you, my friend, are important. And when you can structure your environment and your day to put this kind of retreat in there, I will tell you, it's worth it 1,000%. Now, I will tell you, if you need support in this, you can reach out. Lady Rising is our Facebook group. Sister Circles is where you can talk and we can customize and we can really share with this. These are where you can bring up these questions. And I hope you do. I hope you do, because I'm here to serve. I'm here to lead, I'm here to pioneer, and I'm here to serve. And I can't serve if I don't hear from you. So please reach out. If you have a question about anything that I'm sharing in any of my podcasts, I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to share with you, and I'm happy to come up with and to help you construct a life that you want to live. If you liked this episode and you look forward to future episodes and are really looking for a community to help support you with implementing the tools that we're talking about in this podcast, please consider joining our online sister community called Lady Rising on Facebook, where we focus on that spiritual support and connection, just like in today's episode. I hope you'll join us. Go to Facebook, type in Lady Rising, and tell me you came in through the podcast.